All right, we're here to speak about the diary of Helene Berr from Paris, France, 21 years old. And she is part of the trio, as I call them, Anne Frank, Helene Berr, and Eddie Hillesum, the three greatest diarists of World War II and the Holocaust. So this is part two, actually part 2 and 3 of what I've put together from my notes. A lot of it's quotations, and then I add a little. Another trip to Albertonville. That's the family summer home outside of Paris. We were very excited, Nicole and I. We reverted to our old magical silliness. I don't know why, but it comes out especially when you're doing the dishes. We call it euphoria. We ate striped cherries, we talked gibberish, we teased about Jean Paul and Jean Pinot. We were completely out of our minds, but it was fabulous. The UGIF. Helene, her sister, Denis, and Nicole all go to register with the UGIF. Ostensibly a charity, as it's sometimes called, but like Eddie Hillesum's Jewish Council, is largely only a ruse to make the Jewish community feel they have some say in what goes on. To pacify them for the time being, if you will. What the Germans lack in heart, they more than make up for in cunning. Helene and Nicole and Francois take the metro to a favorite orchard. She said it was peaceful and relaxing despite us having brought our thoughts with us. On the return to Paris, however, an inspector makes Helene retreat to the last car, the one reserved for Jews. She barely makes it. She's separated from her friends and she's in tears and angry. Who could blame her? It's July 1942. The Nazi SS is now taken over in France. Surely terror must follow, Helene says. At the UGIF, her sister Denis is assigned in St. Denis, where she has spoken with a woman there whose children no longer have a father. He has been deported. Denis goes on to explain how children have been drugged late at night from houses there, according to witnesses. For her part, Helene says, thus far, the UGIF has awakened her to the reality and sorrows that until now remained largely unseen by her. Helene, like Denis, also learns of an incident where several French policemen had been shot. This after it's learned they had alerted people that the Germans were on their way to pick them up. Of course, they're being picked up for being Jewish. That's their crime. Being Jewish is a crime. So you get picked up and deported. With all of this, Helene's father's arrested and sent to Drancy. The family has taken it hard, as one might imagine, but makes up packages to send him. He is a well-respected engineer in France and comes from a philanthropic family. Helene and her mother, Antoinette, feel that some type of deal may be able to be worked out, though the Germans are letting him cool his heels in Drancy for the time being. Raymond Berr relates that he is confined in a cell that measures about 4.5 feet. He is in good spirits, though his family suspects he's putting on a brave face in his letters. And this is part 3. With the nightmares of recent days, Helene waits at Sorbonne University Library in hopes her friend Jean will arrive. When he finally does, she remarks, those are the only fine things now in her life. Back soon at the UGIF, doing office work, which is Eddie Hillesum and her seem to both a bore. She hears of horrors and of suicides, the children and the infirm being placed on deportation trains to German work camps. This news was hard to bear on this slender shoulders of this 21-year-old girl. She sees her Jean, and they have a marvelous tour of Paris. There, her and Jean, by way of the Place de Carrousel and the Champs-Élysées and Avenue Marceau, she feels immense pleasure returning with him to the family home, where they drink raspberry cordials and listen to the last movement of the Fifth of Beethoven. Only a few days later, another outing with Jean. The most beautiful things, Helene says, that happen are the things I don't foresee. All my life, she says, I shall remember this afternoon, so rich and full. I went with him to the Rue Saint-Severin, then we sauntered along the quai and sat there in the little garden right behind Notre Dame. The bounce and flutter of young love, even during tragedy, especially even more so. But moments like these could have only been written before time began, to provide a memory to shield them from all that was to come. It was only a couple of weeks after this excursion that Helene would say these words: "At times my awareness of misfortune is muted, and at other times it is acute." Denis described to me what she had been told. Before deportation, everyone is shaved, we are then placed behind barbed wire, there to await the cattle wagons, where they are unceremoniously placed inside, with barely enough room for anyone to sit down. Now, it turns out Papa, after 3 months, is coming home from Drancy. Somehow, at first, Helen cannot even take in such great news. Her world, as all the others, has been turned on its head. But later she exclaims, "Papa's here at the home. It's 6 hours since he arrived. He'll be sleeping at this home tonight." As condition of his release, though, he was advised to leave Paris. This is part 4. A final dinner with Jean. Jean was to the family house, and a big reception for him was held. It seemed he was off to fight alongside the Free French against the Germans. After it was over, Helene walked Jean to the metro despite the curfew. On Wednesday, she received a letter from him. It turns out he was here on Monday. He could have seen me on Monday. Later, when she comes home from the UGIF that day, she receives a magnificent bouquet of flowers from him. So, I'm going to wrap it up right here, and we'll get to the next part in a week or so. And I hope that you think hard about this life that she led. Okay. Thank you.